Danny, just your opening thoughts on the matchup and what's ahead this week.
Yeah, listen, we stayed up nice and late last night, obviously, to see who our opponent was going to be. Um, it's an exciting time here at this club. We're looking forward to the preparation. We're looking forward to the opportunity. We've heard, there's a lot of interest in traveling fans, and that's something we're really excited about. And I believe that the club's going to look to provide and pay for a ticket for all of our fans and their ability to get down there on a bus. I look at the conference final last year and the support that we had was unbelievable. And I think this is an opportunity for us to see that again in Texas. It's obviously a good opponent, one that's had a really good season, but it's certainly a moment that our players are going to be prepared for.
What are you working on this week?
Yeah, I think it's a new opponent, right? We haven't seen them much this year with regard to obviously against us, but we've been following them, obviously seeing where they were in the table and knowing that in this moment at the end of the season it could come down to, is the game going to be here? Is the game going to be there? So we've already started doing the work. We came in early this morning, and we're expecting, as I've said, a difficult opponent. They are where they are on the table for a reason. They've won the amount of games that they've won. But it's a game that, as I said before, I know this group is ready for and excited about. And I think when I look at our preparation and our process, the group's going to be ready.
What's the feeling just around here knowing you guys are one of two teams left?
Yeah, I think excitement. We have a lot of guys that have been here for a long time. It's a moment that they've certainly experienced before. But we also have a lot of new guys that haven't. And I think when you look at how the group collectively handled the game on Saturday against Tampa Bay, when you look at the fight from the group, when you look at the belief from the group under difficult circumstances, I think it shows, really how together this team is and really how important every single player in that locker room is. I said it already after the game, but I can't speak enough about how proud I am to be a part of this group of men, to be a part of this club. It's special. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. And I think the biggest thing, and I said this to the players after, was I was most happy about the fact that I had another week with the group because it really is a special group of men.
These last 2 weeks, those of us who maybe had less faith than you did would look. There are moments late in these matches where, like, well, it's been a good run. You still managed to persevere, come back, be resilient. Is there anything better that's positive than what they've done in these two?
No, I could understand why people were feeling that way in those games. There's no doubt about it. But I will say, and I said it after the game, even when we went down a man, this group has shown their ability to get results in those circumstances. And I talked to the players on the field once the whistle blew for full time to go into extra time. That we've done this before. And I mentioned the games that we've done it. And I wanted them all to believe, and I asked them to believe before the game started. And I felt that in that moment, we're all looking at each other in that circle, that you could sense that they were going to do something special, whether that be getting a goal or whether that be in penalties again. But I did believe in that moment that we had the group to win the game. And no, it's okay. Go ahead. No, and I think that's a big reason where we are right now, is that resiliency.
When you talk about having been there before, I mean, 4 times in 8 years for the franchise, 3 coaches, just no matter what seems to happen, and I know it just doesn't happen by accident, this club seems to keep at this high level. What do you attribute it to? What's special about it?
The culture of the club. I mean, you said it, 3 different managers. There's been success here year after year. And when you look at the players that come here, the understanding of it's no longer about them as individuals. It's about representing the club. It's about representing the locker room. And it's about doing everything that you can every single day to be at your best. And when times are tough, getting through it together. When you're playing well, staying humble. It may look like it's easy to win an Eastern Conference championship or get to an Eastern Conference final. Let me tell you, it's not. And the work that everybody puts in at this club, and I don't just mean my staff and my players, but everybody upstairs as well. Um, there's a constant theme in the work ethic that you have, and you asked me, what do I attribute to that? And it's the culture. It's the willingness to want to be the best every day, and to do everything that you can to make sure you're doing that. And I can certainly speak for my staff and the players. I know from day one in January to where we are now, that everybody has done everything that they can through the good times, through the bad times, and we've stuck together. And you mentioned the last couple games. I think that's proof of it. We stuck together. We were 7 minutes away from the season being over, but they believed, they continued to work, and they fought for one another. And the type of person that we bring into that locker room when you're signing players is a massive piece of this. Of course, you can go out and look for talented players, but if a player's not going to fit in the culture, I don't care how talented they are. I really don't. The type of person that I bring in is first and foremost, and I think we've stuck to that. The club has stuck to that over the years, and that's how you continue such a strong culture and success, in my opinion.
A couple of those guys that were brought in have been academy guys who have been making big plays in the last couple of weeks, whether it's Carlos or Elijah. How fitting is that those are two guys that are getting recognition that's through the academy program?
Yeah, when we set out on this journey quite a long time ago with regard to building the academy, and you look at the work that Mario Sanchez, Luke Spencer, and all of our academy staff does, from the little ones all the way up. When I first met Elijah, I think he was 15, maybe 14 years old, and I heard Paulo say, you look at the growth from him as an individual from then to where he is now. He's a man. At least he's grown up in front of us, and that goes for all of them. And I think we talk about moments a lot, and you talk about growth. When you look at the leadership of the veteran players in the locker room, I think all of those young guys will tell you without them and how they've handled them, they're not where they are right now. But it also comes down to the individual being open-minded, willing to listen, willing to understand that at a young age you don't have all the answers. That's not always easy, right? But when you look at how they respond to adversity, when they're not getting a jersey on the weekend, or when they maybe don't play, or sometimes that's tough as a young guy to handle. But that's when I talk back about the culture and the understanding of it's bigger than you as an individual. And when they started at the age of 15 with our academy staff, they certainly understand the expectation, and it's set from that young age as they keep going. And I think when you look at the growth of Josh, right, and I mean he's had an incredible season, and I had to pull him in last week and let him know he wasn't starting. You have two options at that moment. Your head can go down, and you can feel sorry for yourself, or you can be prepared for the moment. When he came into the game against Tampa Bay, down a man, he was excellent. And I think that is when we preach about culture and we talk about it, it's easy to say, but I think you have to look at the actions of everybody. And I think that is one of the things I'm most impressed about the young players.
Well, what do you expect from the academy going forward? What part does it play in the future of the club?
Continued growth. I think I'm expecting, we're constantly integrating these players into training based off of how they're performing with Luke and Mario. We're constantly evaluating these players. I literally was just sitting down with Luke to discuss an upcoming opportunity for academy players. It's a constant thing that we're working on and communicating. I think I'm certainly someone that believes in youth integration. I'm someone that believes in young players. I think my actions have shown that, but it's also because of the work that they're doing at a younger age. And I certainly trust wholeheartedly in our academy staff. I think they do an excellent job of setting expectations, of helping with growth, of developing these young men, not only as players, but as people. And so, what I can tell you is I think it was maybe 2 weeks ago, we had 3 academy players in training as we're preparing for a playoff game. And those moments for them, even though they're not under contract, are big moments to understand what it means to be a part of this club in high pressure situations, if you want to say so. And they came in and did an excellent job for us. So I think when I look at the growth of the academy, when I look at where we are today from where we were from the first day that it started. It's been astronomical. It's been it's been amazing. And I think again, it's because we all work collectively. You know, it's not like Mario and Luke are there and myself and my staff are here. No, we're constantly talking about these young kids as they're training and developing.
How rare is it, you've been in the sport a long time, to have veteran guys who embrace the players that young? I mean, it could be a young player comes in and, you know, they get treated badly, and which happens.
I've seen it a long time. I've seen it as a player. I've seen it as a coach. But that's why I go back to, you know, when you talk about the development of these kids and where they are now, you cannot just speak about their coaches. You cannot just speak about the academy coaches or the first team coach. You have to speak about the men that they're in the locker room with every day, because they spend more time with them than they do with me, right? And you look at Paulo, you look at Niall, you look at Corbin, you look at Tyler. I could name a ton of different guys in that locker room that have played a massive role, and I firmly believe that the Carloses, the Owen, Seba, Josh, Elijah, that they'll be the first to tell you that. And I think that's what makes our locker room so special and this club so special.
Injury updates?
Let me see. Kyle's going to be out. Cam's going to be questionable. Wasn't prepared for that question on a Monday. Sorry. Kyle's going to be. Yeah, I know. Kyle's going to be out. Cam's going to be questionable, and some of them we still have to evaluate, and they'll be in tomorrow for that. So I will have an update for you guys later this week. Those are the two that come to mind right now, I think.
What's the biggest thing you've seen early on from San Antonio?
A very strong team physically, a well-organized team, a team that is difficult to break down, a lot of quality higher up the field, a lot of strength higher up the field, a lot of speed higher up the field. So I think those are traits that have gotten them to where they are, for sure. But I'm certainly confident in my group.
What do you want to say to the fans?
I mean, without them, certainly the last couple games, I don't think I'm standing here today. That's for sure. I'm looking forward to seeing them all there in San Antonio, because while the conference final against Tampa Bay last year was a difficult moment for myself and for the players, the one thing that we were really, I think, sad about was that with that atmosphere in Tampa Bay and how many people were able to travel there, that they weren't able to see us lift the trophy that night. So, make your way to San Antonio, and hopefully we can have a good night together.